Hello, everyone, and welcome to another webinar with the FutureDocs Abroad team. We have a very special guest today who none of you have seen before. There she is. I think she's just flashed up, maybe just for me, actually. But we'll see. So you all probably know Christian and Raelynn by now, two of our program alumni who are so generous with their time and sharing all about their experiences with FutureDocs Abroad with you. And make themselves available for phone calls if you have any questions one-on-one as well. So before I introduce the strange lady in the bottom, Christian, Raelynn, do you want to say hello?
Sure. Hi guys, my name's Christian. Yeah, I'm a junior in college at the University of South Dakota, and I went to the Philippines in 2014.
Hey everyone, I'm Raelynn. I'm a senior in college at the University of Missouri, Kansas City, and I also went to the Philippines in 2014.
Excellent. And then right down at the bottom here, sporting our logo so well, is Bryony. And Bryony is our international programs director. So she's the one responsible for actually setting these things up and making them possible for you and all of the everything involving that. So Bryony, I'll let you say a few words.
Hey everybody, I'm super, I guess my name's Bryony. I'm the International Programs Director, and I am the kind of kick behind organizing all of those amazing opportunities that you're going to get on these FDA programs. I organize each and every location that we run, and it's just fantastic to be here and talk about it. I'm so excited for this summer. It's going to be an incredible experience for everyone. So yeah, great to join you all.
Fabulous. Thank you, Bryony. So with that, I'm going to tell you that if you are joining us on your computer and you can see the live chat window on one of the sides, I think it's this side, maybe it's that side, then please post your questions in there. And we have a fantastic additional resource for things that are going on this year in Bryony because she knows all the answers. And then, of course, we have Christian and Raelynn to share and absolutely solidify and validate the fact that all of the things that we're talking about are actually going to happen for you. So I'm going to start by asking you, Christian, to just tell everyone a little bit about your experience in the Philippines, maybe your favorite moment or a favorite memory from being there, just sharing a little bit about what you did when you were there.
Yeah. So every day we would go to the hospital and we'd have 2 shifts. So in the morning we'd go to one place and then in the afternoon we'd go to another. So that could be anything like you could go to cardiothoracic surgery in the morning and then be in pediatrics in the afternoon. My favorite experience was in OB, so in the baby delivery ward. We got there and they kind of told us like, oh, we just had a bunch of deliveries. We're probably not going to get to see anything today. But we hung out for like 45-ish minutes, and then the doctor was getting ready to walk us over to another unit because she didn't think we were going to get to see anything. And then all of a sudden, like 3 people got rushed in. They were all ready to give birth at once. So in an hour, we went from not going to be seeing anything to helping deliver 2 babies and then watching a C-section. So it just kind of showed like the fast pace of medicine, and we got to see a lot. And that was probably our most hands-on experience because we were actually assisting in the delivery with the doctor's guidance. So it was definitely, yeah, that was my favorite just because it was the most kind of immersive experience. So.
Amazing. And Raelynn, how about you?
Yeah, for me, my favorite experience was in the pediatrics ward. We were there just to read to patients during their wait, but then I got to go in with one of the patients' families during their physical exam, and that patient had like a little bit of a unique case. They didn't know where her communication was coming from, so she thought she was saying words, but they weren't coming out, quite the right way. And her and I found our own little way to communicate throughout that day, and it was really fun. And saying goodbye to that patient at the end of the day was hard, and our videographer caught it on video, and I still have that memory with me, and I can look back at it all the time, and that's pretty fun. And aside from that, I would say my next favorite was the NICU. We got to hold and rock babies and give babies their first feeding, and that would be my second one.
Amazing, amazing. I always I can hear these stories 20 times over, and I just love hearing you guys. And I always say that as well, that I can hear these stories over and over again, and I never get bored of hearing them. Bryony, I think some context for this year coming up. Obviously, this is our first year that we've been out in more than one location, and I think you validating a little bit what the schedule kind of looks like. I'm not saying give us a play-by-play, but just for everyone to get an idea of what they're going to be doing and when. This kind of overall setup would be really cool.
Absolutely. So we kick off with meeting in Houston, and that is where all the flights are going out to Monterey from. We have got a number of different flights going out there, and there'll be a bunch of chaperones waiting there to greet you, bring you to the where the international departure location is, and then we get into Monterey on the Friday evening, and we'll be getting situated in the dorms, and we'll spend most of the weekend getting orientated, aware of our surroundings. There'll be an orientation of going around the campus and making sure that where you're going. We'll have some safety talks with the local campus dorm people. And also we hope to have a dinner. This isn't set in stone, but I hope to have a dinner with some of the physicians, some of the lead people within Tec de Monterey that weekend, so that you can get to meet them prior to going into the rotations Monday to Friday. So a little bit about the weekend. We'll do a little bit of cultural walk and talk tour. We'll hopefully have some of the students who are currently studying at the university there join us, which will be a fantastic experience for everyone as well. Get a bit of background on what's actually already there. And then Monday to Friday rotations will start. There'll be breakfast served in a local, one of the cafeterias on campus. By the way, the campus is absolutely amazing. Probably one of the nicest dorms ever. And then we head into the morning rotation. You'll meet with your smaller groups, your smaller society groups in the morning, with the lead physicians from those society groups. And then from there, you'll go on to your different places. Then Monterey, actually, Tec de Monterey is offering an amazing opportunity at lunchtimes as well for master classes by certain different leading physicians there who are willing to spend a little bit of time whilst everyone's going through their lunch. And then in the afternoon, another set of rotations. You'll head out, and then followed by an evening debrief and dinner. And we hope to have some speakers during the evening as well. I'm really looking forward to bring that out there. There's going to be some fabulous people joining us. So it's going to be packed full of activities, really intense experience. And then on the middle weekend, we're planning some incredible excursions out into the outskirts of Monterey. A little bit about Monterey. It's on the northeast coast of Mexico. Everyone sort of looks at it and goes, well, it's not by the beach. But one amazing thing about Monterey is that it is surrounded by incredible mountains. It's so beautiful. It's a real business hub. It's a classy city in Mexico. And the facilities that we're running this program at are second to none. It's probably one of the most amazing hospitals that I've ever been to. And I visit different hospitals every day in different parts of the world, so that's really saying something. So yeah, that's
your job. Wow, incredible. As Brian is talking all about that for our Mexico program, that's our high school age program. This summer is happening in Monterey, and I can vouch for it because I actually went down there not too long ago. I can't actually remember, but some time ago, I went down to Monterey and visited the school as well, and it is incredible. It's a really amazing facility, and the physicians are all fabulous. Before I ask you something else, Bryony, Raelynn, Christian, what were your experiences like on those excursions on the weekends? Was that something that kind of added value for you to go into learning a little bit more about the culture in the Philippines?
Definitely. We did a variety of different things, but I can say that we enjoyed every single one of them. We learned lots of stuff about the culture. We still talk about those to this day. A lot of them actually in the Philippines tied back to the US. So that was fun because there was, a war fought over there. So we learned about a lot about our culture tied in with their culture. So that was wonderful to get to learn that, which we don't traditionally learn over here. So it provided a great insight into something that we don't traditionally learn about that was like of an immense value, that you can't put a price tag on this. It's not something that you're ever going to learn anywhere else.
Yeah, definitely. I think all of the experiences were really valuable as well. We had like a guided tour of the city. We had like cultural dinners where they had people who came and like showed us traditional dances and things like that. So it was definitely a unique experience, much more culturally based than any other, I don't want to say vacation, but like any vacation you go on, if it's out of the country or another city, you don't really experience to the full extent that we got to while we were overseas. So yeah, it was definitely valuable.
Amazing. I just want to address, remember that if you do post questions on whichever side it appears for you, we will answer them, and we actually have one. So I'm going to put this to the two of you, but the answer to this is no. And I just kind of want you guys to speak to that a little bit. How much medical or academic expertise should someone have by the time this program starts? There's no academic requirement. I mean, apart from the fact that for the high school program, you have to be in high school, and for the college program, you have to be in college and above 18. But otherwise, there's nothing that you have to be able to join us. There's no prerequisites at all. Christian, Raelynn, do you think that's accurate? Would you say anything would be hindered if you didn't have expertise? What's your thoughts on that?
No, not at all. I remember on the way over there, the guy sitting next to me on the plane who was also on the trip, who I didn't know at that point, was like trying to study anatomy. And I kind of felt like I was inadequate because I wasn't trying. But no, once you get there, I mean, the doctors all understand that you're not a medical student now and you're in high school. And so any question, like no question is a stupid question. So anything that comes to mind, you can ask and they're going to tell you, and they're going to explain it in terms that you can understand. So I would definitely suggest asking questions too, because it makes the experience so much more valuable. I remember actually a couple weeks ago in a class, someone asked a question, like the professor asked a question about a specific disease. And I remembered the answer from an experience in the Philippines because I had asked the doctor like one-on-one, and it just stuck in my head. So definitely ask questions while you're there, but no, you don't have to, I don't think you have to have any base knowledge.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. They take the time to walk you through everything. They ask you if you have questions, but even if that floor is not open, when you open it yourself, they're more than willing to answer any question that you do have. They walk you through everything, no matter what rotation you're in. Before you go in the rotation, they do give you a little bit of debriefing, like a history of what you're going to expect. And then when they walk up to the patient, they introduce you to the patient. They introduce the patient to you so that that patient's comfortable with the situation that you're in. And then they give you a little bit of a history about it. And then they let you, if they have a heart murmur, they let you listen to the heart murmur, but they place that stethoscope for you. It's not something where you're going to have to know where to place that stethoscope or anything like that. And then don't be afraid to make mistakes. You have to put yourself out there. I remember we were in anatomy or cadaver lab, and he said, please expose a kidney. And someone in my group exposed a kidney. And before the doctor could say, don't rip it out, he ripped it out on accident. They're not held on by very taunt mechanisms. So it is a little bit easy to have that mistake happen, but they don't reprimand you. It's okay. So he used that opportunity to say, okay, let's dissect this kidney. So he, cut it open and showed us the different parts of the kidney on the inside. So they use those opportunities where if you do make a mistake, to teach you from that experience. So it's such a welcoming environment.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. And great way for me to move on to something else here. But like we said, no requirements, and I think that's a very, very, very good piece of advice. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. We're all there to learn and to get the most from this experience that you possibly can. So absolutely, do not be afraid to make mistakes. And the more you put into this, experience, the more you're going to get out. And Raelynn and Christian are perfect examples of that. So is the person that ripped out the kidney, by the way. So we talk a lot about the big three, and you've probably heard about the big three from our website, from different things that you've seen from us. And I just want to highlight those things. So the big three are those opportunities and those things that you really want to do as a high school student or as early in your medical student years that you just don't have access to until later on. So that's gross anatomy, observation of surgery, and shadowing physicians in their rotations in the emergency room, etc., etc., etc. First off, Bryony knows the answer to this for this year, but the two of you, you've just given gross anatomy, absolutely. You did have access to that, but the two of you did all of those things as we promised?
Yeah, absolutely. We saw, at least our group saw, a wide variety of surgeries. Everything from, we saw tumors removed to open heart surgery to we even saw like a facial reconstruction. So yeah, we saw a ton of surgery, and then shadowing for sure too. We did the emergency room, we did the orthopedic unit, we did pretty much anything you could imagine. So yeah, I would say definitely big three were all covered.
Just reiterating what Chris said, they were all covered, and it was awesome. We did get to choose one place where we got to go back to whatever we loved the most, and I went back to the NICU again. There's nothing more beautiful than holding babies this palm of your hand, the size of the palm of your hand, and giving them their first feeding. So I went back there twice. But so you do get to see whatever you want to do that more than once. There's more than enough hands-on opportunity.
Excellent. And Bryony, before I ask you to speak specifically about Monterey or about our high school internship, I should also preface that this may also include our college students. So we should also talk a little bit about Hawaii and where we're going in our college program, and then maybe we'll talk about the rotation. So do you want to, before I ask you about this, just say a little something about the college program as you did for the high school program before?
Absolutely. One thing I would say is that when we're selecting these locations to go to, we work really hard to work with universities that have some of the highest, caliber of doctors that are willing to give the best knowledge possible and the best experience. And that is something that I work really closely with. So the doctors that you'll be working with in all of our programs are really incredible. They've got great personalities. They're willing, able to answer all of your questions, and they put their everything into this program. They see the value in the youth coming along and joining us. So a little bit about Vietnam. Vietnam is we're going to be in Hue, which is up on the the middle part of the east coast, below Hanoi, which is a very touristy city, and just above Da Nang. Hue is actually very close to the beach. It's we're hopefully going to go to the beach at some point, but Hue isn't the old city of Vietnam, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's full of pagodas and tombs and just really rich in culture, and the people there are so lovely, respectful, happy to help, and the hospital is just truly incredible. I've been there twice this year already, and I'm heading out there again in a few months' time, so it's really, really amazing place. What more do you want from me about Vietnam? I don't know what else to say.
Nothing more. I just we should emphasize that the programs that we follow and the system that we follow in terms of what you'll be doing and rotations, that's copied across all locations. So Bryony just saying that in the morning you'll be going to a rotation, and then you'll have lunch, and then another rotation. That's the same across all. So you're going to be 40 hours a week, I think. Bryony can correct me if I'm wrong, 80 hours across the 2 weeks that you'll be scrubbed up in the hospital actually doing things, and that doesn't change across where you're going. So high school program in Mexico, college program in Vietnam, we're at the same level, the same caliber, and I'm so excited because I get to see both this year. So it's
one exciting thing I would say about Mexico and Vietnam and our locations is that one thing that sort of it stands out for me is that you get both the experience of being in the private hospital and in a local clinic that is for public entrance. So you'll get both examples. In Vietnam in particular, we're taking a trip up on the very last day up to Nam Dong district, which is up in the mountain, has only recently become a tarmac road and accessible to to a bus of the size that we'll be taking up there to get the students up there. And it's a small clinic hospital. There's about a couple of thousand people that live up on the mountain there. It's tiny. And that experience is going to be truly incredible. Same in Mexico. You'll get that little village experience as well on the outskirts.
Fabulous. And then I can't actually remember what we were talking about before then, so I'll skip over my following question to ask the two of you. I'm just checking actually first. I couldn't find the page if we had any more questions. No more questions at the moment that I can see. So just a reminder, post them if you want to ask us anything. Let's see here. So Christian,
yep.
Raelynn, what are your kind of like ongoing? What's kind of continued on for you? What have you got would you say as a direct result? Does it still apply to you now when you're in school? Did it help you with your admissions process? Like, what impact has coming with us and being part of the program had on you?
Yeah, absolutely. So we also did one of those rural clinics that Bryony was just talking about when we were in the Philippines. And another thing that was really stressed was we were at a tertiary hospital. So everybody that was kind of coming to the hospital was coming from rural areas because this was a place that they could get free or really cheap healthcare. And so when I was applying for college, University of South Dakota, where I go to school, has a scholarship where you can be pre-admitted into medical school. So you don't have to take the MCAT. You just have to keep a certain GPA and take a couple specific classes. So only 4 students are given that scholarship a year, and I applied for that scholarship. And the prompt for my essay was, what experiences have you had that make you want to work in rural healthcare? So I was able to talk about the experiences in the Philippines and how it's important for people in rural areas to have access to healthcare, just as important it is for people in the cities, and some of the experiences that I've had there and why I felt so passionately about rural healthcare. So I was fortunate enough to get that scholarship. So I would definitely say that the experiences in the Philippines have carried over for me.
Absolutely, I definitely would say so, and that's what a great coincidence that happened.
Right.
How about you, Raelynn?
Chris's accomplishments are in a class of their own. I'm so proud of him, and students have done wonderful things with the trips. We all stay in touch. But I was already admitted to college, so I didn't have to do anything like that. But I've used this experience while I'm in college to apply for things and use my experiences on those applications and in those interviews. So I work in an emergency room, and in an emergency room in Kansas City, we see a really diverse population. So it's helped me interact with that diverse population. It's also helped me in a lot of my health science classes. We take diversity in healthcare and healthcare systems, where we compare the United States healthcare systems to healthcare systems around the world. I also interviewed for an internship here in Kansas City, where we're combating food insecurity in downtown Kansas City. So I got that. I found out yesterday, but I'll be working on a mobile market down here with a hospital, and I'm pretty excited about that. It's similar to the hospital in the Philippines, where it's for people who don't have insurance. So I'm pretty excited to use my experience in the Philippines to work with this population here in Kansas City. I also used my experience in an interview at another hospital that I volunteered at last summer, and I was telling them about the things I'd done with the hands-on patient care in the Philippines, and they said, even though you interviewed for this position, I think that your experience, we have another position open. Let's go have you talk to the director of nursing. And they actually put me in the ICU with hands-on patient care down there. So that was really fun. So I went from a meet and greet position where I just say hi to patients and wheel them to their provider to hands-on patient care in the ICU just because I told them what I was doing in the Philippines. So it's opened amazing, amazing doors, even though I was already admitted into college. So for those people going to Vietnam, they can probably relate with me on there. So they know that at least they're going to get so much more out of it. And then those other people that aren't in college, they can relate to Chris's story and see how many doors are going to open with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, congratulations. That's great news, by the way. I hadn't heard about, well, obviously you just found out, but congratulations on that. And Bryony's just like beaming over there. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting.
Absolutely.
Bryony, this is your first year involved with this program and as our international programs director. So guess what? You're now going to be responsible for these stories as they keep coming in. So you can feel really good at yourself and give yourself a little pat on the back this time in a few months that this is going to be all because of you.
Well, you know, at this experience of me going through different areas around the world has been life-changing for me only in the last 6 months. And I'm not a doctor, I'm not going into that field, but for me, wow, I just can't stop smiling listening to your stories because I feel it too going through these different locations. So
well, it's certainly going to be an incredible summer. We do have a couple of questions here, so I'm just going to go through those. And Bryony, these are both really for you. How many students are we expecting to have with us this year?
In Mexico, we are 50 students with us, and in Vietnam, we're having up to 50 students. And it all depends on the size of the hospital, the size of the amount of students that we can have to make it, you know, a viable experience within the programs.
Thank you very much for clarifying on that. And secondly, I think maybe we just missed, and maybe some more detail about this would be appreciated, and people are asking, so it definitely would be. What happens before it's going to be very early, folks, before and after rotations? Are there any classes, conferences, activities?
Oh my goodness, absolutely. The day, it will be a 6 a.m., 6:30 start, and with breakfast around 7:30. And then rotations start anywhere from 8 o'clock through to sort of 8:30, 9 o'clock. Before the rotations even start, we have a morning briefing, especially in Mexico. They have a different setup in Mexico where even throughout the university, they have 5 different society groups. And every university is. So you'll meet in the mornings and be with those head of those society groups. So even the doctors who have, you know, have graduated, they've been in their roles for years and years and years, they are still part of the society group. So the most oldest and senior members of those groups will be teaching and producing problem experience. So not only do you have that morning briefing, but you also have masterclasses running throughout your lunch periods. We're going to have some guest speakers. I don't exactly know. I haven't got anyone confirmed for those yet, but they are in the diary and they're going to be really exciting. And we'll also have some guest speakers and evening events on top of that.
Very exciting. I mean, don't be prepared, everyone. You're going to be kept very busy, and it's going to be a very full couple of weeks indeed. So expect to sleep when you can and be busy the rest of the time. Let me see here. Just going to scan through these questions. Sorry, I was so engrossed with what you were saying, Bryony. I didn't even pay true attention there. Okay, I think we're all good. I'm going to address this one question a little bit later on. So let's see here.
I would say there's going to also be plenty of time to, you know, to bond with your team members as well. It's a really important thing. I really want to make sure, and all of the programs that we're putting on, that there is plenty of opportunity to mix with students who are already studying at those university hospitals as well, local students. So they'll be joining us on activity weekends. They'll be joining us for dinners. It'll be a great time to mix.
Fantastic. Thank you, Bryony. So I just want to put out a couple of reminders right now. Mexico, again, is our high school program, and Vietnam is our college program. So those are the two that are open at the moment. If you do want to speak one-on-one with Christian or Raelynn, and just ask them some very specific questions, or just validate a little bit more how this experience could benefit you, and if you're still on the fence about whether or not you would like to come and be a part of this, then you can speak with them individually. Breaking news, and this has not been revealed to anyone apart from the two of them and Bryony. Christian and Raelynn will be joining the high school group this summer. So if you are joining us in Mexico, they will be there with you. And I hope that you two are excited about that as well, because I am.
Yeah.
And I'll be there for a bit as well, so that's even more fun.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
Yeah, so is there anything, Christian, Ray, I know that you spoke about like really your biggest wins and those really memorable moments from being there in the Philippines, as in your two favorites. Is there anything else you want to add, just like true highlights or things that have really stuck with you? I mean, you guys went 4 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah, mine's kind of cheesy, but when Bryony was talking about mixing with the other students, you'll also mix with the people your age as well. Ray and I are still friends, and we have a group of about 5 or 6 other people that we're all still in contact with. And it's been 5 years or 4 years, and they live across the country. So you really do meet people. It might be your first time. I mean, at least for me, because I went to a pretty small high school. So it was my first time really being surrounded by people who had common interests and common career goal as me. So you will find you have a lot in common, even though you all come from such different backgrounds. So yeah, I'd say that's a huge part of the trip as well.
Definitely. And I know I stressed this on our last video, but be prepared for just an overload of learning opportunities, and write this stuff down. When you come, bring a journal, because I know we're starting to forget. We talked about this 4 years ago, going on 5. And I just wrote a paper actually about some of the things going on in the Philippines that we personally witnessed. And I wish I had my little journal to go back to with more details in it. I wish I wrote down more. So be prepared to write it down, because you're going to forget about all these wonderful things that you went on. I mean, we could go on and on for about 30 minutes about just wonderful, wonderful things. There's just so much we loved. But like Chris said, the wonderful memories that we made, all the hands-on experience. But also, like Bryony said, I think it's wonderful that they're going out in the community, because we did a community day as well in the Philippines. And I think that was probably one of my favorite days.
A couple of them, actually.
Yeah, that was a day I will never, ever forget. And that was the day I actually wrote about in my paper. I did an advocacy statement about some of the population in the community that we interacted with. So you're going to experience so many things that it'll stick with you for the rest of your life. So bring a journal, write it down. It's going to be great.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. And for me, it's a true pleasure. I get to deal with you guys a lot, and I'm so glad that you're part of our little family, and for you guys to know, for you guys to still be, as you said, such good friends after so long, and the group of you that are like that. That's really a big part for us as well. And pointing to Bryony, that you forge these friendships and these partnerships with people that want the same things as you and are working towards the same things as you, as a support system. And that's so important. I'm so glad that you guys are such a perfect example of that. I do have one more question. Christian, a question for you. You talk, and really both of you, but Shelby is asking, you talked about asking questions with doctors one-on-one. Mm-hmm. How much one-on-one on time is available with the medical professionals?
Yeah. So you'll be divided into smaller groups. So it's like 4 to 5. And so you're with those people all the time. So you get really comfortable with them. So one-on-one with just the doctor, probably not a ton, but I mean, you have your small group, and you should feel comfortable asking the doctor whatever you want in front of those people. And he'll answer to who most likely, like he'll talk to everybody, he'll address the whole group. But if you ask the question, he's going to be drawn to you. And so it'll feel like a one-on-one experience.
Bryony, did you want to speak to anything about like the groups and the time that they get with physicians?
Absolutely. You know, we're trying to make sure that the groups are as small and as individual as possible. One of the most amazing things with Mexico is that they have the most amount of rotation selections out of all of our locations. They have, I would say, about 35 different options on the rotation selection, which is not only that, but I am making sure that there is going to be a number of opportunities. The physicians come and join us for dinner on certain days, a sitting ceremony, and we're hoping to have as many of the physicians that leave the rotations with us as possible, and an opportunity for everybody to talk about their physicians to do that also. So an amazing opportunity that's additional on top of all of that.
Did you say 35 specialties? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you kind of broke out a little bit. And I did tell Christian and Raelynn that this was going to be the most amount of options that they had, but I didn't realize it was 35. So bonus there.
I think there were only like 12 in the Philippines.
Wow. Well, we're really expanding, spreading our wings this year. So that's 35 specialties for you to be exposed to in our high school program. And by the way, the college program isn't too far behind, but more and more and more incentive. And I hope that you just truly believe that this is going to be an incredible once-in-a-lifetime experience that you just cannot get anywhere else than with FutureDocs Abroad and being part of this. So I really, 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 really hope that I'm going to see you. I'm going to be in Mexico a day earlier than you, but I hope that I get to see you in Mexico or in Vietnam, because I will be going there too. And if you do want to speak with Christian or Raelynn and maybe even connect with them now ahead of your trip, or just ask them any questions at all, then please, please, please let us know and we'll set that up. You can either, I think the phone number is actually below here and the email address. Just give us a shout and we'll set that up for you so you can speak with them at your leisure whenever you like. They're available. Yeah, and I should mention here that if you're watching this and you're thinking, you know, people aren't really my thing, but animals definitely are, then guess what? We have a program for you too, because this year is our first year that we have launched a Future Vets program, which is going to be in Costa Rica right at the end of the summer. And it's going to be exclusively animals. So if people kind of creep you out, then the furry 4-legged variety and 2-legged variety are available to you too. And you can check that out just email us and we'll give you the information, or just change the all access med for allaccessvet.com and you can check out everything to do with our Costa Rica program too. Again, if you want to speak with these two lovely people, you can't speak with Bryony, I'm afraid, but give us a call, send us an email, and we'll set that up. And we hope that we'll have you join us in Mexico or Vietnam. I should just mention one thing really quickly, and that actually, Bryony, I'm very glad that you're here for this, and that is the tuition. The tuition for both these locations are the same, and they include pretty much everything that you need while you're with us. So it's your international airfare, it's your accommodation, it's your meals. Bryony, can you pick up where we left off there?
Yeah, I mean, it goes through from everything from point A to point B. The only thing that you need to be responsible for is a little bit of cash to buy a snack if you wanted to, or buy a bottle of water if you wanted to, or some gifts today to take home. Everything else is covered, and you know, it's from top to bottom. Anything you can think of, from the moment that you step foot with our group at the International Departure Airport to the moment that you get back to that departure airport, food, drink, and airfare, and all of your tuition whilst you're there is covered.
Perfect. We should just say that we will give you information about any immunizations that you might need for both those locations, and you will need to get those separately beforehand, but otherwise everything is all baked in. And yeah, if you want to speak with Kayla, our admissions director, about any of that and walk you through that whole process, then she is absolutely available. Again, the number is just below, and you can give her a call or email her, and she will answer everything that we have not covered, if there is anything that we have not covered. Anything anyone wants to add before we let these lovely people go about their evenings? No?
I don't think so.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much again for giving up you two's time. And Bryony, I'm so excited that you finally got on one of these and you were a part of this too. So thank you for giving us your time.
Thank you, guys.
Have a fantastic evening, everyone.